One of the must-do activities when you visit London is a river cruise down the Thames. And today we're doing just that, cruising down the Thames. In this video, I'll show you our cruise. We went to Greenwich, got off and toured around, and then took another riverboat back to the Westminster Pier. But before I show you our ride with all the beautiful sights, let's first talk a little about the companies that offer these types of tours. Some of the hop-on, hop-off bus tickets include this as an option, but let's say you just want the river cruise without the hop-on, hop-off bus. Well, as you can see here, there are a lot of choices. This is the Viator site, and now let's take a look at what TripAdvisor has to offer. And you can see there are a lot of choices. At the number one slot on TripAdvisor is a one-way ticket from Westminster Pier to Greenwich. You can also buy a round-trip ticket, and that will get you back to the Westminster Pier. None of the admissions to the Cutty Sark, the Royal Observatory, or the Old Royal Navy College, for example, are included in this ticket. It's just a nice cruise down the Thames with live commentary on board. You can also hear the commentary via Wi-Fi from your smartphone in 5 more languages in addition to English. There are other choices you can make. For example, at the number 2 slot, you can opt for a dinner cruise. Or if you're in a hurry, how about a high-speed RIB, that's a rigid inflatable boat with speeds of 35 miles per hour, that's 55 kilometers per hour, and sharp turns purposely. So I'm not sure how much of the sights you'll be able to see at those speeds, but still, some people will find this fun, so why not? Other choices include early access to the Tower of London, afternoon tea, and here we have another RIB speedboat adventure, a cruise with a private tour of Greenwich. That's a bit pricey at around $240 per person, and quite a few more choices, so you'll have to decide what you want. The cheapest and fastest way to go is with an Uber boat. It's the way London commuters get up and down the river. These ferries service 18 piers in the central and east zones, including Greenwich, Tower of London, Bankside, Embankment, the London Eye, and much more. Think of these boats as river taxis rather than tour boats, but still a great way to get around. We opted for a more leisurely cruise, and we decided to do this at the last minute. So instead of booking ahead of time online, we went straight to Embankment Pier and found this kiosk with a ticket window selling tickets for a reasonable price. You can see here the listed price to Greenwich is £940 one way and $18.80 round trip. The senior discount, if you're over 60, is half that amount, a 50% discount. That's really a nice price. We opted for a one-way ticket since we weren't sure what our plans were for later in the day and if we would come back using the underground or taxi instead. We figured we could buy another one-way ticket on the other side, and we were right. And according to the listed prices here, there was no discount for buying round trip versus one-way. Together with the tickets we bought, we received this souvenir guide with a map of the various sites we were going to see along the river. Then we went down a ramp and followed the signs for the Thames River sightseeing boat. The ramp down the pier is a bit steep. The boat leaves every half hour, and the tour to Greenwich is about an hour. And as we were walking towards our boat, I could see other boats leaving from the pier, including the Uber boat. That's the commuter ferry. Round and round we walked until we finally got onto the boat, and since we wanted to get a good view, we headed upstairs, but it was full, and that was really disappointing. We looked around for an empty seat at the top, and nothing. So we made our way down to the first level, and wouldn't you know it, plenty of seats. Everyone wants to sit upstairs because the view is so much better upstairs. We could wait another 30 minutes for the next boat, I suppose, but we didn't want to wait, so we settled down next to a window seat, and the window opened, so perfect. After a bit, I wandered forward to maybe get a better view. Almost the entire time, there was someone narrating the tour over a loudspeaker, which wasn't so loud, and he sounded a bit bored, a little bit of a monotone.
Also to the right, that tall tower block, the New Kent House.
Or maybe it's just a British thing, I don't know. But then I found on the way back we had a much better narrator, so I guess it's just luck.
So a group of local businessmen joined together and the businessmen ended up on the Thames River.
As we cruised, we passed other cruise boats, and here's one from the London Eye River Cruise passing us on the left. Now we're approaching a group of bridges. This first one is called the Blackfriars Bridge. And in 1985, the old Blackfriars Railway Bridge was deemed too weak, so it was dismantled. But you can see the red pillars here that are still remaining. Now we're approaching the Millennial Bridge, which initially opened in June of 2000 as a pedestrian bridge over the river, linking Bankside with the City of London. It was swaying too much. I think they called it the Wobbly Bridge. And so they had to close it for 2 years to fix that, and then reopened it in 2002 without the swaying. If you have some extra time in London, it's a nice walk across. This bridge is the famous London Bridge, although this is not the exact bridge referred to in the nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling down, but it's close to the original location of that bridge. And here on the left is one of the RIB boat options that I showed you before. After a bit, we came to the Tower Bridge, which is located right near the Tower of London and is a tourist attraction in its own right. There is a cost of admission, but there are quite a few things to see there. First, there are the walkways across the river with iconic views of London. There are glass floors to walk on and look through. And then there are the engine rooms to explore, and the blue line that immortalizes some of the workers that kept the bridge going. There's also an audio guide to listen and learn as you're walking the Tower Bridge, and you can have a look at the bascule chambers below the bridge. A lot of people got off the boat here, so we went upstairs to see if we could find a seat up there, and yes, there were a few empty seats up on top, so we took them, and it's a much better view up here. Wouldn't you agree? After a bit more cruising past other sites, we passed through an area called Canary Wharf. This is a new financial center with lots of shops, restaurants, and even residential complexes with very innovative architecture. And here's an Uber boat. We passed quite a few of these. And here we're coming up to the Greenwich Pier. We made our way off and spent the day in Greenwich. There's a lot to see and do here, so that's for another video. Ultimately, we bought another one-way ticket back to Westminster Pier rather than taking a taxi or the Underground. It's a relaxing ride, and the ride back actually had a much better narrator giving live commentary, so I'm glad we took the boat back. We were also very tired from walking around Greenwich all day, so relaxing on the boat was just what we needed. I hope this video helps you in your plans. Thanks for watching and enjoy your trip.